You're tuning in to the Bueno Power Hour podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bueno Power Hour podcast. I am your host, Arthur Bueno, and this is another episode of Let's Talk number 2. And I just basically talk about pretty much whatever. No guests today. And, it's going to probably be a quick one. I'm actually recording this before I go in and play some Monster Hunter with my girl and some friends of mine. But yeah, it's kind of strange how a lot of things have been happening over the course of the weeks. I've gotten the opportunity to talk to some pretty cool folks, and I'm trying to conjure up more interviews in the coming weeks. I know that the holidays are coming around, and so more of that, more of those interviews will probably have to come around maybe around January and February. That's when maybe the momentum will pick up. And so, yeah. So, guys, thank you again for joining in. So, here's what's been going on. So I'm 2 months away, this month and next month, to finishing my my project, my music and photographic project, and it's been kind of nice knowing the fact that I've been able to stay consistent as far as writing, composing, just the whole nine. Even though most of the songs, I feel at least, or obviously they are, excuse me, they're definitely unfinished. What I am taking away from this whole process is that you don't really have to rush, and you also don't have to think that this body of work is the final thing. You can let it sit for a bit and sort of reflect on how you wrote the song and how you felt about it. And sometimes it's good to welcome change into things. I think that's why a lot of people's bodies of work, photographically and musically, they fall short sometimes. And yeah, given the time constraints and the demand of people wanting you to release pictures or music and such, it can be kind of exhausting, I'm sure. But I think how I see it, how I feel about it really is just, and since I'm a nobody, which is kind of a good thing, I'm a nobody. It gives me the opportunity to kind of take my time. And I don't know, maybe this project actually will be received very well amongst people who are part of this type of music, who are down for this type of music, who are down for these types of pictures, And I don't know. I mean, I realize that a lot of the images that I've been taking have been very mediocre at best. Unfortunately, some of my best work usually is on film, and the Instax film really is what helps me to kind of create a little bit more of a thoughtful type of picture. And that's initially how I feel about it. I'm not saying that digital photography sucks or anything, but it's certainly something that is Excuse me. Digital is something that I studied for a long time and still have trouble with it. I'm being dead serious. I mean, I know I know Photoshop pretty well. The editing process, a little bit of color corrections and such. I know how to have non-destructive workflows. I know how to compose an image. I studied this shit at school, and um, you know, taking these photographs, it's just been kind of strange. And especially since I'm reflecting on the interview that I did with Theo. Uh, it's strange because it's almost as if he read my mind. That most of the images that he was taking really seem to be pretty pointless. There's really no meaning to it. There isn't any kind of special thing about it. It's just images of what you saw, and then you make up a zine, and you show it to your friends, and they say, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Like photography, I'm not saying that it's starting to die out for me, because I pack my camera everywhere anyway, and so I'm always looking for a picture to take, and I'm always having an excuse to bring out my Leica and take that thing around and just take a bunch of pictures, as much pictures as I can. But all in all, photography has certainly lost. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'd rather make an image than just take a simple one. Just, I don't know. I actually I don't even know what I'm saying. I think what I'm trying to say is that I'm being a little bit more careful as to what I point my camera at, and being a little bit more thoughtful as to how I approach certain places, subjects, just the whole thing. And my approach to photography has definitely changed, but and I'm looking at my cameras right now, and I just know that one of these days I'm gonna have this spurt for like 3 or 4 months of just photographing the shit out of anything. That's usually what happens. I haven't really taken a great photograph in a while, if I have ever taken a great photograph, but um, I'm coming to that point where I don't really care to like post stuff on my Instagram or post stuff even on my blog. And that's another thing I've been also thinking about is the future of the blog. It's the 9th year, and I don't know what to put. I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And it's kind of strange because I've dedicated this craft for so many years, and people still don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That I kind of get that. I kind of get the fact that I don't put myself out there enough, as most people do. And it's also because my images are probably shitty to begin with. You know what I mean? Like most of my friends are a lot more successful and a lot more uh, thoughtful about like the images that they create, and I just take pictures and just see what happens from there, and that's probably a bad thing. and I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I haven't really found a new angle in photography, and I'm not really forcing myself to find that angle. I think that's the good thing. I think that I'm letting these images become whatever they want to be. I'm letting myself feel the way how I want to feel. I still shoot street, I still shoot in the streets, and I compose a little bit differently when it comes to photographing outside, and I'm starting to think that being a little bit farther out and trying to compose the image inside those four corners, are starting to become a little bit more appealing than trying to photograph somebody up close and personal. And that has always been my style. I think I've always liked to approach photography that way, and I think that I lost that at one point for about a couple of years. In fact, I've been actually trying to photograph a certain way where I shoot from the hip and kind of grab the camera a little bit differently to point at the subject waistlines, around the chest areas, maybe a little bit closer to the head. There's these different ways of photographing these images that I'm beginning to think that this might be the direction I want to go. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how ethical this sort of process is, but I do know this. It's definitely making me have fun with photography again. You know what I mean? I think that using the zone focus system is a godsend. And I'm not really looking for sharpness as much as other people do. I'm really looking forward to the content. And I think that's what I'm lacking the most about it. I'm lacking content and I'm lacking direction. And again, it's I'm looking at my Leica right now and I'm just kind of just telling myself, man, like I have not photographed with this thing in a while, So easy peasy. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, this is a pretty embarrassing podcast. So in that regard, I still take pictures. I'm leaning most of the time. I'm always leaning on more of the analog, something that you can touch, you can hold, the tangible. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm sort of coming at with music as well. After this process, and I kind of want to approach music a little bit differently after I finish, recording these songs and then reviewing them. Taking notes, trying to figure out different ways of how to approach them, and just taking my time as to how I compose each song, because I noticed that though that I take my time and I'll write some stuff, and I'll when I get the inspiration I'll write drum tracks. That's usually the first thing that I write. I'll get stuck and I don't even know what to do. Or I even like yesterday I didn't even know what to do, how to like end it, and I ended the song kind of weak. I was trying to make it sound compelling, and it just didn't work out. It didn't really work out, but I did it. I finished the song, and that's the whole point. And in this project, writing these 12 songs as a diary and then patching them up and making them sound good and clean, that's initially where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to accomplish with this album. And so it's a process, man. It really is a process, and I never realized how difficult this process would be. And I can only imagine what it'd be like if you have 4 or 5 people in the same room trying to write a full-length album. Like, the grind is fucking real, man. It's so real. And I appreciate that. I appreciate people who do their best to compose music a certain way, and just try their best to figure out how to um, write amongst a concept, an idea. Try their best to not just put things just out there, in a song. Try to keep it cohesive, because most musicians, most bands, most of them fail because there is no cohesiveness. There's no there. It's not diplomatic. It's always one way, and people can't agree to certain things musically. And I think I've been one to work pretty. People can work with me pretty easily, so I'm pretty giving. But I'll also let them know, hey, can I add this part? I think it would sound cool, kind of thing. Like the collaborations are, it's extremely easy for me to collaborate with other people, and even in Elmo Marconi, I was able to provide that vision. Not so much on my first band though, in Winter Soldier. I mean, I don't think I did. Mainly, when you come into the band as a bassist, then a guitarist, and you play songs that was written maybe a couple of years prior to your to you joining the band, and then you end up playing songs that was made before you joined, and then you write a song with that guitarist, and that song became probably the most requested song on it. I think that was kind of an accomplishment, because I knew that if I wrote these types of songs, this sort of this specific song that I wrote with Nathan, I knew he would like it. And I kind of want to get into that. Let's just kind of just talk about that. I forgot what the song was called. Nathan could probably could remind me what it was called, but it was the very first song that I made with Winter Soldier. And I remember I was in the Philippines, and I had this shitty guitar that I bought at the mall in the Philippines, and I for some reason I was writing a lot more mathier stuff than I am today, but just these lines that I was writing, and how I was kind of composing the each riff, like it sounded like 3, 4, 5 songs in one song. It was probably the most. There was a lot of change ups in timing. A lot of beat change ups in that song. I don't remember what the fuck the song is called, but I remember I wrote that in the Philippines, brought it to Nathan. Nathan helped piece it together along with his brother, Neil. And we had Josh Staffarini, great dude, kind of helped compose that song with us, and it became a hit because it was a lot more poppier. It was a lot more, people can jive with it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of explosive parts to it. Damn, dude. I mean, listening to that song in my head right now, and just kind of envisioning those, not envisioning, but just remembering those times that him and I wrote that, and then playing it live. We were a pretty loud band, dude. We were pretty loud. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, it's really just me playing playing all these songs, and recording them, and then leaving the band to venture out to other projects and stuff. But yeah, this is it was kind of weird to talk about actually, but that's really pretty much it. I mean, the last few weeks I've just been trying to keep it together, not really happy with my job right now. I'm kind of hoping to find other jobs here soon. Hopefully, when me and Jen move to California, we'll have that chance. But you know, I actually just today I actually got hired for seasonal at Guitar Center. Like, God damn it, I'm back at this job, man, and I can't believe I did it. But it seems like the people that I'm going to be working with are going to be really, really, really cool, and they're not crazy ass sharks. So anyway, I mean, I kind of just want to update you guys on what's going on. Thank you again. I know it's a short Bueno Power Hour podcast episode. There's not really much to say. I may figure something out. Let's talk about certain subjects in music and in photography, and that may help me kind of push this more of this Let's Talk series forward. But it's more of like a work in progress kind of thing, and then sort of just talking about whatever. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you would like to listen to more of these podcasts, you can subscribe to my channel, and I do these uploads of the podcast every other Friday. And yeah, it's been a great time doing these podcast episodes. I'm really excited that I've been able to kind of keep up with it. You can check out my videos, my vlogs. I do Monday uploads every week, and kind of check in about a couple of weeks for maybe some new Lost Loves content. And yeah, so guys, again, thank you for joining me in this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.